So just to recap real quick on our little front suspension problem. As you can see here with the helper spring on top, we have this adjusted for 10 inches. So free play. Now the helper spring, as you can see, takes up a little over 2 inches, and that just compresses, you know. That's only there to keep the spring lined up with the spring perch when the suspension becomes fully extended. And at this setting, we're at least 2.5 inches too short on ride height, and this spring perch is adjusted like just about to the top thread on this threaded collar here. So I ordered some 12-inch springs to go in here, so that way we have 4 inches more to play with, and that should solve that problem. And in the rear, pulled the brake rotor off, pulled the caliper off, and I don't really see anything wrong. One thing I did find, wait. Well, two things I found now. One was the caliper bolts on this side were only hand tight, and looks like we got a big washer stuck in there. Well, that's not supposed to be in there. Just so you know, we're not going to run these brake pads. We have a set of new Hawk pads, but I wanted to run the old pads for you know, I don't know, 50 or 100 miles or something like that, so they clean up these old nasty rotors, not our brand new Hawks brake pads. These are kind of rusty looking, and there's no real neat reason to buy new ones or anything, so just let the old brake pads clean them up, and we'll put the new brake pads up, and then should be good to go. Okay, well, I'm going to put this back together, and since we already have it up in the air, we're waiting for the springs for the front before it gets back down on its feet, but maybe I'll fire it up and run it through the gears to make sure that doesn't make any noise anymore. Well, that's that. So I was wrong. Turns out that this washer that was sitting in there is actually a caliper spacer, and there was only one. So last night I got my bucket of rear suspension parts that had not been used yet, and I found 2 more. So then I thought, wait a second, 2 more? What's going on here? So I took the caliper off the other side, and sure enough, it was the same deal. Only one spacer was on there. So these go in between the caliper here and where it bolts on here. So you have to pull the pads out and stuff to get them in there. So we'll get them on there, and that'll be that. That should fix our brake noise problem. I was on some of the online forums, and they talk about the rear spacers and the fact that the rear only has the spacers, the front does not have spacers. The rear and the front pads are the same, since these are early turbo type calipers, and actually the calipers are pretty much the same, just the rears have smaller pistons in them. So that will fix our brake noise problem, and we will move forward from there.